about the angle over here, the other set about angle of these root areas, that is reversed. This is plus, that means this is minus. So when you think about the top, which angulation is from root or crown, you have to check it. But normally this day, we are talking about the crown top angulation. So this is inclination. Oh no. Anyway, you can see in the there are some our top layers, but here's just 1, minus 6, minus 12, minus 20, 25. That means in the low mandible areas, from anterior to distally, the angulation will be raised. That means more lingually tilted, right? But in the upper areas, the section is the same. That means if we want to make some this kind of top in the wires, in lower case, for example, this is from major and distal. If we want to make this kind of top, just fix each side and twisting. Then from here to there, more angle. But if we want this kind of angulation, we need to section. Fixing it, top, fixing it, top. That is why hard to control in the upper areas. Anyway, if you use this kind of system in the standard, you have to do like that. But if you're using straight wire technique, you don't need to worry about this kind of. Anyway, another technique was to attach easily to the teeth. There are companies, lots of systems. But in these pictures, I'd like to show you that how can you distinguish the bracket? This is the for anterior or posterior or upper root. Yes, anterior part is very easy. Shape is a little bit different. But the bracket has the main rules. Can you see this stuff? The meaning of this stuff, what? There are some kind of how can I say, yeah, so yes, this is some kind of rules. So all companies, they have some dot in here. Where? Major, distal, incisor, lingual. That means when you buy some bracket, if you dot here, that means this location is distal region. That is all the rules. Some company, they are printing in here. Zygmunt Baumer system, right? That means lower right. Number 5 means second premolar. But after using that, you cannot see it. But when your bracket raising location is, outside is more easily. So this is globalized point. So whenever you see the bracket, yeah. Some companies, they are distinguished the color, but normally the position is all the same. Or some bracket, they have the point that is 2 here. What does that mean? That means there is no tip. They can change left and right. If they have a tip, you can, right? Tip means like this one. So some bracket has, especially low incisors, they already have 2 tips. That means you can mix together. And this is the way how to position in the tooth with the standard bracket. But I didn't want to explain. This day we don't use this kind of. Yes, my boss using this kind of standard bracket. But when I was studying I graduated already 1997. At that time, most of the orthodontic using straight wire bracket. But my boss, he started in 1970. he used the standard bracket. Anyway, standard bracket have three kind of vary banding. First order means in out, you already know. Second order means vertically up and down. And third order band means top. So it's very difficult. Three-dimensionally, you have to bend it. No way. It's very hard job. So just the concept, this is, so you have to remember the name. In the incisors, normally the thickness is different from the regular incisor, lateral incisor. That's why we have to make some, this kind of, we call it lateral step. And another, canine. If we use, normally we draw, the center is the same, but the normal canine is look like that. So major side and distal side length is a little bit different. So that's why we need canine curvatures. So you already thinking about when you put on the bracket in the canine side, the center is very difficult. If you pick here, the distally have to space. You can feel with the resin. But anyway, always thinking about when you put in the canine, the center is look like that. Not here is not centered. So this is why canine of the need. And the other one, the finally, here is bayonet band. You know about bayonet? Maybe, yes, I heard in Vietnam, men have to go military service, right? No? Everyone in Korea, they have to go to military service. So when you go to, so I draw some, this is some gun, right? And they have some trigger in here, and here is the position of here. Then if you take triggers, the bullet will be going out, right? But in the past, especially around the 19, how can we reload the bullet in the gun? Did you see the some movie? Reply, yes. That shape was look like there. So this kind of cup, this comes from the gun. We call it bayonet. So bayonet band means they comes from here and out and little bit inside. Especially this kind of situation, we call it bayonet band. It's very difficult to make it. And last time, towing band. Here's the bayonet band, but the 6 and 7, they are different widths. That's why we need more curve here. So this is very difficult. Just one plan, we have lateral set, canine curvature, bayonet, and top. Now we have the second order band. So vertically, we have to make this kind of to represent the tip of the teeth. And lastly, third order band, I told you, level ringlet top. This is the mandible side. When you twisting it, you can make continuous angulation from majorly to distally. So that's why, as you think about the straight wire appliance in 1970, so he makes some journals and why we need the concept of straight wire appliance. So after that, we have to learn about this kind of concept. This is the FACC, facial axis of clinical crown. That means just when we see the patients, we can see the tooth in front of the right patient. The only portion is the facial crown, right? The root we cannot see. So you think about just the point is focusing on the facial of crown. So there are two kind of axes. One is root axis, the other one is the facial axis. Andrew, just think about not here, just focusing on here. So the main point is the facial axis, and the other one is the FA point. FA point means midpoint of facial axis of clinical study. What is that? Here, right? Here is FA point. And lastly, he makes some concept of Andrew's plan. I show you later. So you have to remember it. Then all teeth is around here. This is the facial axis, right? He made the facial axis right there. Now think about root axis. Root axis is a little bit different, right? Just only think about facial axis. And FA point, where is center? Here is center, here is center, here is center, 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 center. Then make some line through the FA point. Then we can make just one line. He called it Andrew's plan. This is his concept when he started. Yes, someone said, who are attrition? What happened? He didn't think about just healthy tooth. Usually we are treatment normal around 12 years or 30 years old patients at that time, so they have some also the treatment. But these days, yes, old guys can get also treatment. Anyway, if someone has some problem, fracture or attrition, you can imagine original shape and it's easily take some FA point. That's why from this concept, the location of the bracket is where? Here. Here. It's very easy. Then now you can have two kinds of representative point. One is clinically inside the line. Inside the line is parallel with the Andrew's plan, right? The other one, second one is the facial axis is rectangular, right? With Andrew's line. If you don't find the inside the rating, you can easily find you can imagine the center of FACC, then you can position easily bracket position. So when you put in the tooth with a bracket into the tooth, you're already thinking about inside the plan, but the canine or premolar, they don't have inside the plan, then FACC is very good representative point. So you can easily locate it, and just the center is enough. That is the Andrew's concept. But actually, there is some mistake with Andrew's plan. That is why the other scholars, yes, researching about patients' crown length or whatever, they are reported some another concept. Okay, good, I understand. Lateral incisors, X means representative point. Yes, always, yes, your Andrew's concept is correct. But incisor more longer, plus 0.5, and canine is more higher, plus 1. Premolar is okay. Yes, first molar is okay, but the second molar on minus 0.5. This is more realized Andrew's plan. So these days, lots of companies make from this kind of concept. So whenever you locate the bracket in the patients, you have to think about this one. But can you distinguish 0.5 millimeters with the patients? So this day, I ignore this kind of concept. Just focusing on my representation position is number one premolar, molar, and when I located the bracket in here, just in front of C, just the center, I can make here. Then after that, using wires, they are all like here. Some another that is using the laterally representative centers, but it's up to you. But my recommendation is molar. Band or bracket, you can fix it, the person, and then follow the level of this. It's easier way how to. Another, yes, research suggested that FA point is from tip to 5 to 45 millimeters. How can I calculate 0.5 millimeters? I cannot. And someone said, if you see, yes, look like that. Maybe it here is a 425 millimeters. So if you see this here, the taps I didn't agree. So the point I told you, the molar located bracket and in front of patients, just see and the slope line is similar, is better. Anyway, yes, this kind of concept is correct, but this is the field of researchers, but I'm clinician. The easier is the better. Anyway, to go back to the to when we using straight wire before the this kind of standard bracket angle, the offset and canine curvature wire curve in the towing band, you don't need to straight wires because the bracket thickness will be different, right? Thinner, thicker, that's all. And in the base of a bracket, if you make some curve already, that is easy way, right? We don't worry about just the center is enough. So this is another problem. There are lots of companies in Oslo. Yes, RMO is very famous of American company. They are maybe until 2000, this company is the most biggest company, right? Might remember. But this day, there's lots of changing. There are three kind of shapes: scared or boy. But 2020, Damon company, they are suggesting another concept, Damon art. So just my suggestion is, whenever using the wires, there are three kind of, yes, it depends on the national. Korean guys look like, for example, Korean women want to be seen a small face. That means when they are smiling, they don't want to see the molar. But in America, the big smile or good smile means whenever a woman is smiling, they have to see the molar in front of. But in Korea, they don't want to. That means to the Korean guys, tapered art is more fast. Because when they see, just canine see, not molar. But in American, more scary is better because the wide and good smile. This is a different company. But you have to remember, the first time when you start the taper time, the finally wire have to be tapered. First wire is, we call it initial wires, usually round wires, tapered. Second wire, square. Third wire, ovoid, is terrible. Just using one time. Actually, I just like ovoid type. This is more mixed together. That is my choice, just. Anyway, when you're using the wires and different companies, always think about the shape. Now, second order band means look like tip, right? You already know that. But in the straight wire, you don't need to do this kind of job. Just changing from here to right there. That is resolve this kind of problem. Anyway, this is what I showed you. So that's why we can get some good representative point. Anyway, this is the concept of a third angle. How can I? Yes. This is just the first version of standard bracket. At first time they think just to make a slope look like that. Then what's the problem? When you put in the wire, the center is look like that. But FA point is here, right? That is a little bit problem. And another one, if we make the curve of cloud, cause of cloud, the straight wires can be, but the height is a little bit problem. So how can we resolve this kind of problem? It's very easy. Three-dimensionally changing them. So every bracket, we call it this kind of brace base. The design of bracket is a little bit different in each teeth. That it can be easily resolved. That is just a theory. Some teeth look like that, some teeth look like that, some teeth look like that. So you already thinking of after pointed that, located the bracket, just thinking about the patient's personalized problem, then you can resolve it. So this is the way how to develop the bracket. Anyway, now we can we call it this kind of final result. Diagonal means just rectangular, little bit parallelly, and the in out and this can represent it just one bracket. So now we just use it. Just in the insider areas, we follow just the insider tip, but the canine areas, we just follow the FACT. Then we can easily position of the bracket. Anyway, this way, this is how to develop the machine. And then here I have to explain this kind of maybe in the bracket system, when we're talking about the bracket system, direct bonding system, maybe you can imagine what is that. You can do it by yourself, right? Some said indirect bonding system. That means when you take the impression of patient and some mold means some carriers, you can make it. And in the model cast of patients, you can locate it easily. Not in the patients. The patients have to long time to locate the bracket. So in the clinic, in the laboratory rooms, it's easy to pick the location of. And after located in the cast, the bracket, and the mold is outside, you can take it out, and the patient comes out, you can easily locate the bracket directly. We call it indirect bonding system. Yes, just because the all bracket position is represented in the cast of the model, so it's easy and you can reduce the time to make the position perfectly. But and after located the bracket, just your job is changing wire. They can follow it easily. This kind of concept is developed. So finally, this day they are making it the Invisalign system. Invisalign system, they don't want to using the bracket. Just reflexible plastic. Just put in the mouth, they can replace it, all this kind of concept. But honestly saying, a little bit different in the interactive system and the visualized system. Then you have to study more later, but that comes from indirect bonding system was individualized. Anyway, so this is the system of I use it a lot. So you don't need to worry studying about this. So finally, I'd like to show you, this is some prescription of company. There are too many systems here. I was studying about the last means level aligned anchorage system. There is a more mathematical systems, and anyway, it's very complicated. But the most popular is loss prescription is maybe about in Korea 70% using this kind of prescription. So if you know about this, just compare three kind of systems. In upper areas, incisor. Last system they have 14 degree. That means top will be finally right there, 14. But 11 means finally they are talking right there. It's a difference. But these two kind of systems basis on the extraction system. Let me think about the first system. If you extract premolar in here, right? We have to retract distally. And if we retract distally, the molar will be retracted majorly. So to prepare this kind of prevent of this kind of movement, the bracket have some top here outside force. Then they cannot lose inclination and go back. But if we don't do like that, after that they are come down and the head of different a little bit right there. So that's why facial angulation is the most important of the bracket system. But if you choose non-extraction system, you cannot use this kind of prescription. You have to reduce angulation. So this kind of concept you have to learn more. So when you decide the patient's treatment or choosing bracket, you have to choose extract or non-extract of patient. After that, you can choose the company's prescription. But in the lower, all company little bit same. But most of the difference in the canine, there is a different concept. During, we call it after extraction of premolar, during the retraction of the anterior part, what kind of mechanism they are using? Very important, famous, number one is the sliding technique. In 0 to 2 bracket slots, most of dentists using sliding technique. That means just the hard wire in here, from here anterior to molar, extraction to premolar, just using spring or energy chain, such as elastic, just retract one time. We call it sliding technique. But the tip and toe technique means just tip, toe, tip, toe, tip, toe. This kind of movement, then they have to changing the angulation of canine. So you have to choose again what kind of movement mechanism. It depends on changing the prescription. So number one, extract or not. Number two, what kind of mechanism will you use to retract or close the space? Yes, there are lots of to learn, right? Anyway, you have to learn the first. I'm just introducing about the concept today. There are too many books. I already show you. In here, it's just using the round wire, you don't think about yes, any. Okay, this time just introducing about what is the concept. That is my thinking. I hope you can understand. Any question? Yes, sorry to be hard. Okay, let's finishing and prepare to moving to the dental hospital. Location, right? Good. Thank you. Nobody sleep. The last one. Sorry. Here, yesterday, we are participate this Google Classroom, but there are some test kids, you know. Please come in and give me answer for this test kit. Right now, it's very easy. Then we can test how can walking is correct or not. I booked the final test in 17, 4 p.m. 20. You cannot open yet. It opened automatically at this time. So I can count here. No one answer.
Ồ, điền rồi mà.
Ủa gì vậy? Ủa ở đâu hả?
Đó, điền rồi đó.
Ủa sao vậy? Ủa là sao? Cái đó là cái gì?
Trả lời mấy câu này thôi à.
Wow.
Coi vậy?
Person.
Câu gì vậy?
Trời ơi, cảm ơn cả lớp rồi.
윈만큼 레탄트 레타인 카우겐 노당 같은 루티원 백경원 함저 곽간